I'm talking about the Phoenix real estate market in March of 2021, and it all starts right now. Hey everyone, I'm Caitlin McKegg. I'm a realtor here in Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you for coming to my channel where I give real estate market updates and neighborhood tours of the various neighborhoods here in Phoenix. If this is your first time to my channel, make sure you subscribe because I have all of that great information coming to you on a weekly basis. Today we are talking about the real estate market as of March of 2021, and this is specific to the Phoenix metro area. As always, I am using the Cromford Report as my best source of information, so I want to thank them for everything that they're able to do to give me the great data that I get to provide to you. The Cromford Report is a subscription that I have, and this company analyzes MLS data on a daily basis and puts it into a bunch of excellent charts, graphs, and information, and that's what I use to share these updates with you. All right, so jumping right in to the stats that I always start with, we're comparing March of 2021 to March of 2020. Our active listings are down 57%. Our listings under contract are up a whopping 0.4%. The monthly median sales price is up 17%, and that number is $350,000. And our months of supply is down again to 0.5 months of supply. So essentially, if no new homes came on the market here in Phoenix, we would run out of homes for sale in 2 weeks. Our number of closed sales is up 4.3%. If you've been watching my market updates, you know that a lot of this is kind of the same information every month, just the numbers change slightly. We have a low number of listings that are active for sale and a high number of listings under contract, and the median sales price continues to climb. One of the things that I talk about on my weekly updates as well as in these monthly updates is the CMI, or the Cromford Market Index. So to give you an idea of what that is, if this is your first time watching this video or you just want a little refresher, the Cromford Market Index is, of course, from the Cromford Report. It is their indicator of supply and demand factors in the market. A reading on the Cromford Market Index anywhere between 90 to 110 is considered a balanced market. Anything above 110 is a seller's market, and anything below 90 is a buyer's market. Right now, we're sitting at 503. What's interesting about this is, if you haven't been following my weekly updates, this number has actually gone down on a weekly basis. For as long as I can remember, that number has been climbing and climbing and climbing, especially since last May. And every week it was getting higher and higher. So in the last couple weeks, that number has actually gone down. March is the first time that we've seen the CMI go down. It peaked at 512, and now we're down to 503. So what does this mean? It does not mean that prices are going down, and it does not mean that our market is crashing. Basically what this means is our foot is kind of taken off the gas as far as our forward trajectory into a seller's market, which is a little nice, to be honest, because we were getting so far out there that it was hard to understand what was going to be happening next. So at this point, our foot was taken off the gas and our buyer demand started to drop. Meanwhile, our supply of homes has stayed the same. So this is affecting our market index and showing a lower reading on that. But I will caution you and tell you that this is not something that's significant enough for us to feel in the market on a daily basis. If you're a seller, you're still getting multiple offers on your home and it's going over list price. And if you're a buyer, you're still finding that you're competing with a lot of other buyers and also with multiple offers. The CMI can be broken down into both the demand and supply side. So on the supply side, we are extremely low. We're sitting at 22. So that means that we are 78% below the normal range for our supply. And on the demand side, we're sitting at 111, which means that we're 11% above normal demand. Now, I did say demand was going down, so this might be confusing because I just said it's above normal, but our demand in December was about 132. So it was 32% above normal, and now we're only 11% above normal. The demand index has been dropping about 8 points every month, and as it continues to drop, it's changing our overall CMI reading. Meanwhile, as I said before, the supply index is not really changing much. We've been sitting in about that 70-something% below normal for quite a while now. The CMI is great to know what's going on in Phoenix overall, but we can break that down into every major city in the Phoenix area. So let's take a look at that table that shows each city in Phoenix. Here are the 17 major cities in Phoenix, and Avondale has always been in the #1 spot. But if you've watched my past updates, you'll realize that there are a lot of red arrows in the downward direction on this table as compared to previous months. And this is showing that the CMI in every city has started to go down as compared to the previous month. The only places that has continued to go towards a seller's market is Cave Creek, Tempe, and Paradise Valley. You can see the percent change on all of these is pretty insignificant. 6% for Avondale, 7% for Gilbert, 1% for Fountain Hills. So although the red downward arrow looks a little alarming, it really hasn't moved that much in these cities. It's just telling us that the market hasn't continued further in the direction of sellers or further for a seller advantage. It just kind of softened slightly away from that direction. Again, in all of these markets, this is not something that you're going to be able to feel on the ground level as a buyer or seller. Not much is really changing, but we need to continue to watch these and see if anything makes a significant change downward, and then it might change the way things feel for us on the ground level. What you might be surprised to find out is that many of these cities have a demand index that's below 100. But since our supply is so low all over the Phoenix area, the demand index is almost irrelevant. We could drop by half and we still would have a high CMI, rising prices, and a seller's market. For prices to start to stabilize, we need a lot more buyers to drop out of this market. So we're really relying on our supply to be the thing that will take us out of a seller's market and more towards a balanced market. If we begin to see a sharp rise in the number of listings, we'll know that we might be headed in that direction. But as of right now, the change in demand is not really affecting our market all that much. Here's another chart that shows supply and demand that I think will be interesting to show you. This chart plots supply and demand on the same graph, so you can see where our demand is sitting above that 100 normal line at 111. And then you can see where the supply is sitting way below that 100 mark at about 78% below normal. In order for us to get to a balanced market, both supply and demand need to come together into the normal range. We have quite a ways to go for supply, even though demand is heading in that direction. So I keep saying low supply, low supply. Well, let's talk about some numbers that actually will indicate how low the supply is. So for example, in the town of Buckeye, we've hit a low of 56 listings. Fountain Hills has hit a low of 27 listings, and Maricopa has a low of 41 listings. All of these numbers are so minimal compared to the size of these cities and the number of homes that exist in these cities. On the rental front, it's no good either. Rental supply is extremely low. We've seen 15% fewer rentals in 2021 as compared to 2020. And in the last 4 weeks, we've seen a decline in rentals of 24% as compared to this time last year. We only have about 1,400 rental listings available, and the long-term average is about 4,800. So this explains why our rental rates continue to rise so rapidly as well. It's no secret that Phoenix has seen a lot of price appreciation, and we've actually taken the #1 spot for 20 consecutive months, according to Case-Shiller Home Index. The national average of appreciation was about 11.2%, and Phoenix is sitting at about 15.9%. When we look at the average list price per square foot as compared to last year, it's obvious that this is really happening. Right now we're sitting at about $244 a square foot, and last year at this time we were about $190 a square foot. Now, you can see that dip last year, which was when the pandemic started. But if we scoot back a couple dots here, you see that we were at 195 last year, and we're sitting at about 240 now. Our list price per square foot has increased from 220 a square foot in January to about 240 now, which is an increase of about 9.8% in only 11 weeks. If we continue this way, we may be seeing price appreciation close to 40% here in Phoenix. I've reported on the number of homes closing over list price and how much over list price these homes are closing for in the past, and I want to give you another update on that now because it's only increased even more. Right now we're sitting at about 49% of all closings are closing over the asking price. You can see here that the biggest offender of homes closing over the list price is in the range of $250,000 to $300,000. 61% of homes closed in that price range have closed over the asking price, but all other price ranges are pretty high as well. 57% for the 300 to 400 range and 49% for the 400 to 500 range. If we look at how much these are closing over asking, it really varies everywhere from $8,000 all the way up to $20,000 and even $50,000 in the $1 million range. Now, these numbers vary depending on zip code, as there are some zip codes that are hotter than others, and cities as well. But in general, you can see that about 50% of homes are selling over the listing price, with a pretty significant number over asking price, depending on the price range. So there's your update for March of 2021. As it's been for a long time, we are in a strong seller's market here in Phoenix. There is very little supply and over normal demand. But as I said today, the demand isn't as much of our issue as the supply is. So we really need to see more homes coming on the market for sale, which will help ease this market. If you're a homeowner and you're thinking about selling your home, I can't stress enough that now is a great time to do that, especially if you have a home that is a rental property or maybe a second home and you don't have to worry about going somewhere to buy a new home. You can check your instant home valuation from the link that I provided in the description below if that's helpful for you to make that decision, or reach out to me anytime and I'd be happy to give you my advice on what you could get for your home as well as a plan to get it sold. Before I go, I do need to talk about the dog of the week. Every week I pick a dog from a local animal rescue here in Phoenix and highlight their story in hopes that they find their forever home. This week I am highlighting Lucky Dog Rescue, and I'm talking about Mila. Mila is a female Siberian Husky who's about 2.5 years old. She's good with other dogs. They don't know if she's good with cats or kids. She has a lot of energy, she needs a very active household, and she's good in the car and on a leash. If Mila might be the right fit for you or someone that you know, look in the description below. I've linked to her profile so you can learn more about her and reach out to discuss an adoption. So there's your update for March of 2021. If you are thinking about buying a house in Phoenix, it is also still a good time to buy. Even though everything sounds really hard, it's not going to be easy to get under contract, but I will tell you, we anticipate seeing more price appreciation here. So if you can get in now and get some appreciation in the home that you just purchased, it's not a bad thing to do. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet subscribed, and follow me on social media so we can connect there. I hope everybody has a great week. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will be back next week with more market updates. I'm Caitlin McCagg with HomeSmart.